All right, so this panel is, of course, on politics and ethics, so I'm going to move on from, the political, get down to the personal level. Probably the core theme of FMA, beyond anything else, in my opinion, but I think I can defend this, and I don't think there'll be much argument, is redemption. The plot of FMA is basically 3 redemption quests running in parallel. You've got Ed and Al's redemption quest, you've got Scar's redemption quest, and you've got Mustang and Company's redemption quest. What's kind of interesting about this, they're all seeking redemption for 3 different things, and I think this is a total coincidence, but I think it's kind of cool. Those 3 different things are kind of what was considered the ultimate sin in 3 different ages of history. What Ed and Al did was hubris. Hubris was the ultimate sin to the ancient Greeks. It was believing you knew better than the gods. It was elevating yourself to a superhuman status and arrogantly trying to do something that humans should not do. In this case, it's, human transmutation, of course. And Ed and Al spend the rest of the series trying to redeem themselves for this act of hubris. Scar, and this I'll have to explain this a little bit why I worded this way. Scar committed treason. What I mean by him being treason is twofold. First of all, he feels like he betrayed the Ishbalan people, and most especially betrayed his brother, because he was the warrior. His brother was a scholar, he was a warrior, and he was unable to protect. He should have been the one to protect him, but his brother didn't. And he should have been able to protect his people as a whole, but he couldn't. So he feels like he's betrayed his people by failure, and that's what makes him so angry. But after his encounter with Winry partway through the series, he realizes, he starts to really understand he's committed another kind of treason too. He betrayed people who were trying to help him. Winry's parents were trying to save his life, and he killed them for it. In medieval and Renaissance Europe, treason was the ultimate sin. In Dante's Inferno, treason is what gets you to the absolute bottomless pit of hell. And if I remember correctly, the absolute worst kind of treason is betraying your benefactors. That's what, and so that's kind of the ultimate sin of that era of history. Finally, Mustang and Company committed genocide. That's their sin that they're trying to seek redemption for, is they committed genocide, and genocide is the ultimate sin of the modern age. When you want to show that who are the most evil people of the modern age, when you start listing the most evil people of the modern age, it's obviously Hitler, it's Pol Pot, it's, you have to list off quite a few people before you get to somebody who hasn't committed genocide. So those are the 3 sins that they're trying to redeem themselves for, and they try a lot of different ways to redeem themselves. Scar initially is pursuing vengeance. He wants to kill the people who hurt his people. But slowly he realizes no matter how many people he kills, it's not going to bring his people back, and it's not going to make him feel any less like he failed them. It's just going to cause more pain and suffering. And it takes him most of the series to slowly get over his drive for vengeance and start seeking redemption. And he starts by helping to save the nation he sought to destroy. He's really still sort of seeking revenge at that point, because he's come to understand that while he saw it as Amestris versus Ishbala, actually, really, it's Amestris and Ishbala versus father. But he is still trying to save the alchemists he sought to destroy. He even goes so far as to get the alchemy tattoos, the new alchemy tattoos on his other arm, so that he can be, he hated alchemists, now he is one, And then, at the very end of the series, he moves on really, Scar's redemption has not happened yet by the end of the series. He's redeemed in the eyes of Ed and Al, but he's not really redeemed in his own eyes at all. But he has an opportunity to redeem himself by restoring his people's culture and their faith, to use not his warrior training, but his priest training. So that's one path toward redemption, is to overcome the need for vengeance and seek to, make up for your failures. In this case, the failure to protect his people is going to help recreate his people. It's not always possible to undo your failures, which leads to another path to redemption, making amends. This is the path Ed and Al take. This is the path Mustang takes. The first step in making amends is to admit what you did wrong. The truth is, while, at first couple episodes, Ed and Al know that they messed up the human transmutation, but that's how they see it. They see it as they failed at human transmutation. If only they'd gotten it right. But they failed, and there was a backlash from failing, and now they need to fix that. They're still completely hubristic. They still don't see what they did as being at all wrong until they meet Nina. And after they fail to save Nina, they realize that they have limits, and if they don't respect those limits, they can cause a lot of harm, the way Nina's father did, Tucker. And they can't turn back time. They can't bring Nina back from the dead. There is nothing they can do to bring Nina back. But Al can seek to prevent it from happening to other people. He can seek a cure for chimerism. He can seek ways. He can never save Nina. He can never turn back the clock and do it. But he can save other people, and in so doing, make amends and redeem himself for having failed to save Nina. Same thing with Mustang. Mustang wants to create an Amestris where genocide in the name of protecting the nation is not, yay, it's horribly punished. And he wants to be the one to be punished for it, not only because he feels incredibly guilty about it and wants to suffer for it, but also because an Amestris where genocide is horribly punished is an Amestris where people will think twice before they try to do it again. So he wants to create a world where it's not going to happen. So these are some of the ways that you can kind of redeem yourself. The question then is, can anyone do this? Can you ever get to a point where you are irredeemable? Maybe. Maybe. Alchemy, like real medieval European alchemy, draws ideas from a lot of different sources. One of those sources is Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism. In Jewish thought, and including in Kabbalah, it's a little different from the Christian notion of, sin and grace and all that. Instead, the idea is there is a negative inclination, which is, trending toward darkness, and a positive inclination, which is trending toward light. Everyone is born with a negative inclination. You have to learn the positive inclination. If any of this is sounding familiar, the id and the superego are just that idea in Freud's words. That was one of his sources. The thing is, Father basically tries to get rid of his negative inclination. He tries to get rid of his greed. He tries to get rid of his lust, so on and so forth, in an attempt to make himself a more perfect being. Near the end of the series, actually no, I think it is near the end of the series where
like the second last episode.
I'm talking about when Ed's father says You thought you could make yourself a perfect being this way. Are you stupid? Basically, that was at the end.
Oh.
It was
going for the picture you had up there.
I'm sorry?
I think he was going for the picture you had up
Oh, the
there.
picture up there is very near the end.
yeah.
I'm talking about when Hohenheim calls him out on this, because in Jewish thought, the negative inclination is not evil. You know, to give some examples, lust is not evil. If there was no lust, there would be no children, there would be no families, there would be ultimately no love. You know, pride is not evil. It can be, but it can also lead to ambition and to trying to better yourself. Wrath is not inherently evil, because without wrath, there's no justice. You know, and you know, if you don't get pissed off by unfair things happening, you're not going to try to make things more fair. So on and so forth. One way to look at it is the negative inclination is the engine, and the positive inclination is the brakes and the steering wheel. So father tries to shed his negative inclination, and in so doing, loses his engine. He becomes stuck. He becomes unable to change. And since he is unable to change, and because he's never actually learned the positive inclination, he's empty. He is just this empty darkness. It has nothing inside of it anymore. And because he has nothing inside of him, because he cannot change, he cannot be redeemed, he cannot admit his wrongdoing, and he cannot set out on the path to amend himself. He knows he's missing something. One theory on what Father is that he's a piece of the primordial darkness from before the creation of the world that is craving that light that truth represents. He knows he's missing the positive inclination. He knows he's missing something that he needs, but he thinks he can basically just create this huge gate and eat it, and then he'll be perfect. He doesn't understand that he has to change to gain it, that he has to be transformed, he has to be transmuted.